And then we got the Sin City street fight, Brian. Drew McIntyre against Damian Priest. And this started out with a guy who cannot play guitar. Again, you're more musical than I am. Was this good guitar playing? It was just rotten to me. It was a guy from Slayer. I guess they said it looked like an indie guy from.
Yeah.
Seriously, again, what did he bring a whole fucking van, Ruben? And they were all just sitting around ringside. But was this any good?
It's not my thing, and I could recognize that about that kind of music, so I'm not going to pretend that it is, and I'm not going to say that I liked it, but I'm also not going to say if it's good or not, because for me, it's not. I don't like it.
It didn't look like any Glenn Campbell or Roy Clark guitar picking that I'm used to.
You know, the other thing is it didn't seem like it got the fans anymore into Damian Priest.
Well, no, because they were, I think, thinking the same thing I was. Like, who the fuck is this guy? Well, so they jump-started this thing and went out to the floor. And they had a little fight, and Drew started taking the stairs apart and arranging them in the right place. So Priest leveled him while he was doing that and pulled out a table. And Drew hit Priest about 4 times with the stairs, and I was already about to tune out. Because I love Drew McIntyre. And at one point, he did take a selfie with a fan's camera while Priest was laying there. But then McIntyre pulls out another chair and he sets up 2 tables at ringside, and the other guy has to sell, and everything comes to a halt. And it's automatically, I could watch AEW and see this. The athletes wouldn't be anywhere near as large or as probably as good of workers, but the same fucking principle. It's just because they got to have a street fight. And the show's too long already is another thing I wrote. So I fast forwarded a little while. Priest hit a razor's edge on McIntyre through one of the tables, 2 count. Fast forward. Drew hit a DDT on Priest on the steel stairs, 2 count. Fast forward. Priest did his rope walk where he's holding on to Drew's hand, and Drew shoved him off backwards off the top rope through the 2 tables that had been set up on the floor previously. And then he claymored Priest while Priest's head was in the corner with the chair in the corner of the Jell-O pudding, and boom, 1, 2, 3. We've wanted to like Priest. There's just something going on. We love McIntyre to just de-doodly death, but this was just another weapons match because they didn't have one, and they I guess think they have to have one. Did I miss out on appreciating the finer things in life?
I don't think so, although it did seem like the fans there really got into it. You know, Priest, you want to see guys protect themselves, but he did the thing where McIntyre pushed him through the 2 tables that were set up, and he covered his head as soon as he left the apron.
Yeah, I would too. Not the apron, the top rope. Remember, he came off the rope.
And, you know, again, I know you want to protect yourself.
I'd have fucking had a football helmet on. Are you kidding?
But to me, it stood out like, okay, here I go. Let me hold my breath.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, it's the Nestea plunge.
I will say here, too, because there hasn't been another time, the commentating. Pat McAfee, I appreciate how, I guess if you're a fan of his, you're into his enthusiasm. But holy shit, is he awful as a commentator. He just screams. And sometimes he screams and no one else has anything to say. Because they don't even know if he's done screaming. But he's awful. God, he's all. I know he's a big wrestling fan, and I'm sure he means well. And he'd probably admit I was right, too. But he's awful at commentary. Holy shit, is he bad.
I think enthusiasm is one of his trademark, personality quirks or whatever. But yeah, I agree. He's got to gear it back some so that he can go somewhere every once in a while. But I'm afraid he's, they're going to have to strap him up some kind of defibrillator.
Like, I'm just like waiting for football season to start or whatever, like just so he gets the fuck out of there for a while.
maybe he'll go to work for the Rock's UFL.
If they're still
or
in business.
UFXL or SUFLP.
Probably that's an all-time bomb this season. We'll have a wrap-up, I'm sure, at some point.
I didn't mean to get you started on The Rock.
No. Hey, listen.
Go back there eventually.
I'm nowhere near The Rock's biggest hater this week, so I'm just going to sit back.
Let the other people do the heavy lifting. Well, we got a football player, Daniel Cormier from the UFC, and the Kill Tony guy were introduced, and he got booed. They don't like him either.